Welcome back to the show, Tuesday, March 30th. We appreciate you watching or listening from wherever you are. Joining me now is the newest head coach in the Premier Lacrosse League, the 2020 champions of the MLL bubble, hoping to defend that title here in 2021. Please welcome Cannon's head coach, Sean Quirk. What's going on, Coach Quirk?
Ryan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing well. It's good to see you and appreciate having me on today. Looking forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. You just selected 18 guys in the expansion draft, obviously added now 3 more here in the entry draft. Lyle Thompson, it was one of those guys. We've been saying no-brainer all week, but if you had one word to describe that selection, what would it be? And how would you say his availability factored into how you built this team starting with that expansion draft?
Yeah, Lyle is, in short, the epitome of a team guy. Obviously a phenomenal player, but somebody that's just a team guy first, very humble. So we're looking forward to having him, amongst the other guys that we took in the entry draft and the expansion draft.
You added what looks to be in the entry draft your starting goalie as well as a lockdown nightmare in Zach Goodrich, 2 guys that have played for you in the past for this Cannons team. How important was it to get those guys on this roster, and were you surprised that they were able to fall for you, specifically Goodrich in round 1? Because I feel like a few of us saw him going sooner than your 6th overall selection.
Yeah, Ryan, Goodrich is, in many people's opinion, the best short sticky midi in the game. I think having coached him previously, I could certainly attest to that, but I think equally, if not more importantly, him being one of our captains, again, just an all-in guy. He's a team guy, on and off the field. He believes in the culture that we've built. So really looking forward to him being on the Cannons Lacrosse Club this season. And I was certainly surprised, a bit that he did drop to 6, but that was very fortunate for us. And certainly, Nick Morocco, as you mentioned, another one of our captains, unbelievable leader, just a tough-nosed goalie that can really do it all. He's great in the cage, great out of the cage. Again, one, I think, of the better goalies that's playing in the entire game right now.
You talked about the importance of building a team and a culture and the kind of roles that you expect these guys to play. Paul Rabel, Brody Merrill. You just now add a guy like Lyle Thompson, Zach Goodrich, Nick Morocco to that fold. How far ahead of the curve do you think you are now in preparation for this season?
Yeah, that's a great question. You named some pretty key guys there that I think certainly bring a lot of experience. Guys like Paul and Brody, they've won championships at all levels. They bring a level of professionalism that's so profound, that's really going to help a lot of our younger guys, whether they be rookies coming in out of college or 1 or 2 year guys that have been in the leagues. So those guys are just incredibly valuable to what we want to do and what we believe in as a coaching staff and them as leaders. And certainly, those other players that you mentioned, they bring some experience and some youth, right, to the roster. So that's really exciting. And then all the other gentlemen that we picked up in the expansion draft, just are really starting to get involved with conversations with the coaching staff and all those players to, start to gel it as an entire team now.
I talked to your new LSM, Reese Eddy, last week. Actually, I talked to him about a week and a half ago about really just, he said, you reached out to him saying, hey, you interested? And absolutely, no doubt about it in his mind to get after. And he said in, the group chats, obviously, everyone's starting to obviously meet each other, kind of get all on the same page as you head into this 2021 season, excuse me.
Yeah. Reese is, you spoke to him and have seen him play. He's just such a competitive, fiery guy. I loved watching him at BU when he was a student athlete there. And when I saw his name on the list of guys that weren't protected, he was a no-brainer to pick up, for a lot of reasons.
There's that word no-brainer again. We like that word no-brainer, Coach. The waiver wire is now open. We are expecting a flurry of additions over the next few days. How do you see this playing out, and how many guys are you looking to add? Kind of over. You got your full 22. We're not is the max 30, I believe. What's kind of the mindset here going into this waiver wire?
Yeah, I think we need to, certainly fill out our roster at some different positions, and there's certain needs that we need more than others. So Sean Kerwin and John Kopacki, my assistant coaches, and we've been meeting since the entry draft. We'll meet again one more time today to finalize that list. But you go through that list of players that are still available, Ryan, and there's so many guys that are capable of playing in the PLL, and not even just in our roster, all the rosters. It's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. What team specific needs are and that sort of thing. But for the Cannons Lacrosse Club, we definitely have some certain needs that we need to fill, and we're going to try to do the best of our ability in the waiver period to get those done, but before we enter the college draft.
You talk about all that talent available. Our lacrosse flash team put together pretty much a full team, I think, of 18 or 20 guys that didn't get selected in the entry draft. So for everyone watching, listening, go check that out. It is on the Lacrosse Flash website. You talk about guys that you need, positions that you need to address. Faceoff doesn't seem to be one of those positions. You selected 3 guys in the expansion draft. We saw this past summer, obviously completely different circumstances, but some teams rolled out to Utah with only 1 draw guy. Again, completely different circumstances compared to the last year bubble to the 2021 season. But you chose to go with 3: Drew Simino, Brendan Fowler, and Tommy Kelly. What factored into that thought process to select 3 faceoff specialists, and how do you expect to deploy this group going into this season?
Right. All 3, Semino, Kelly, and Fowler, all proven guys, all stars at the professional level. And we want to compete. We want to create competition at every position within our team going into training camp. And I think when you do that and you guys have guys that are all bought in to what the Cannons are doing, it just raises the great ship of enterprise, right? And that competition within a team is really good and it's healthy. So that's one example. At the face-off position, we got three great guys, and ultimately we'll probably get that down to 2 right after training camp. So seeing the way those 3 guys are working out right now, they're battling, in the off season. It's going to be a great competition at that position. And that's kind of what we're trying to do right along the lines at every other position on our team right now.
You talk about creating competition. This college draft looks like it's going to be stacked across the board. When it comes to addressing that talent, possible needs, how are you approaching it?
Yeah. We'll see, we know where we are today with the roster. We'll see where we are at 5:00 tomorrow night, right? With the waiver period ending, and what we pick up there. And then we'll go into that college draft to really probably go based on needs, whether it be an offensive player or defensive player, and that sort of thing. But there is, Ryan, like you said, the plethora of talent that's in the college game. Watching some games this weekend, you keep going back and forth because there's so many guys. You're like, I want this guy or that guy. So all the coaches, myself included, are going to have a big challenge ahead of us to see, one, who's available, but then who we ultimately want to pick with those spots.
Absolutely. You're nearing the end of this process. How does it feel to be on the now, I guess, opposite side compared to just a month ago? You had 0 players on your roster. Now you have a full 22. What's the difference, really, just the plan before being in the planning process to now?
Yeah, the wait and see game is over, as you said, and I just love being involved with my coaching staff and our players right now. Literally, I was just texting 3 of my players, Paul being one of them, talking a little bit about the waiver period and what we need and what we got going on. So it's just those type of things that, are in motion now. So once we get this group finalized, then we can start hitting the pavement a little bit more with game planning and what we're going to do at training camp and that sort of thing. So it's exciting, and just really grateful to be a part of it here in the PLL and get this Cannons team going to compete for a championship.
Oh yeah, very, very exciting. As I told Reese in our interview, in all we know, you're still a defending champion right now. You're trying to defend that championship for all we know.
Absolutely.
Oh
No
yeah,
doubt. When ultimately rehired, I say in a sense of John Kopak and Sean Kerwin, that's what we said from day one. And every guy that we've taken in the expansion draft or a trade or the entry draft and now waivers and then the college draft, that's the mindset, right? Is competing for a championship. And every coach will say that at the beginning of the season, rightfully so. And the process of how you get to that end result is critical. It's the journey, and it starts with having the right men in the locker room that believe in each other, that believe in the system, that believe in the Cannons organization within the PLL. So we're fired up to get going here with this group of guys and set our standards high to certainly compete.
the season's right around the corner. Just over 2 months away from opening weekend. Very exciting stuff as we get closer. Definitely very, very exciting stuff. Coach Quirk, thank you so much for joining the show. I really appreciate it. The new head coach of the Cannons Lacrosse Club, ready to get after it here and going into 2021. Thanks again, Coach.
Thank you, Ryan. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.